Okay, so I'm going to welcome you to InDesign, and we're working with the interactivity with InDesign. So we're going to try to create an InDesign presentation. The problem is going to be, if you guys never used InDesign before, you're going to have to look at the UI first, and then we're going to place some stuff and create something. And then I gave you a template. So maybe working with the template will going to help us going directly into the interactivity in InDesign. But few things that I want to talk to you a little bit about it before. A, what do we need InDesign to create a presentation? When we have now Adobe Express, you have PowerPoint, you have other things. So first of all, InDesign has a lot of typography and a lot of stuff that you can do it really robust, but you don't have it yet in Express. And then, of course, not in PowerPoint. InDesign, you can place Adobe Photoshop files with all the layers. InDesign, you can place Illustrator file with all the layers. So, you know, Photoshop, hopefully, right? You're starting to know Photoshop a little bit. So, you know, you can place PSD file whatever directly in InDesign and work with it. The other thing is the output. So what do you do with InDesign? You can output it to publish online, which is something really cool. So even if you're not going to do a lot of interactive stuff today, I'm going to show you how to do something called publish online. So you basically can send your client a link. They don't need to have InDesign at all. They click on the link and they see the file that you have. The good news, it's a link. The bad news, it is an Adobe link. So if tomorrow you don't have Creative Cloud, it's going away. But what I do in Publish Online, I also create a PDF with it, and you can download the PDF. The good news, you're going to have a PDF. The bad news, PDF doesn't take a lot of the interactivity from InDesign anymore, because it used to be, because it was Flash-based. But now it's not Flash-based anymore because there's no Flash, so there is a problem. There is a third-party like a third-party filter or kind of like plugin that you can purchase. I think it's called In5, which we're not teaching it here. And that takes all the other obstacle and making it, everything can go and be out. Then you can do it into EPUB also, but EPUB is also has some limitation because it has to be hosted by a certain EPUB, and then if you don't have the hosting, it's not going to work. So what do you usually do with InDesign? If I need to do a major interactive, what does it mean? If I want to do animation and I want to do, let's say, a slideshow or buttons, that when I do it into Publish Online, that will take it. But if I want to do other stuff like hyperlinks, and then if you want to go and do, like, you can do hyperlinks, and what else can you do? Some other stuff that PDF is working with it. I'm going to do that into a PDF. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's how it works. So anyway, so what are we going to do now? Because we're going to try to build a presentation, and we're going to do a simple one, but I did give you in the files already templates because there's no time to do everything. So there are some templates that I actually created, and then we can go in and work with it. So what's that? We don't need this one here. This is just the welcome screen that we have over here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that, and I wish InDesign has close all, but it doesn't. I always have something that I'll say to you in every software, I wish they had it, because I keep thinking about why don't they have the same thing in every kind of software. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do File and Open, and I'm going to the files that I gave you. So we can see here we have presentation, INDD, and .INDT. This is actually the template. INDT stands for InDesign template.
Okay.
So InDesign have INDD is InDesign, INDML is for stuff that's not part of Creative Cloud, CS4, CS5, and CS6. And then you have INDL, which is local library as well. And I did give you this on purpose, so if we don't have time to do the whole thing, we can just drag and drop stuff. Of course, you can create also libraries, local libraries, and then you create the Creative Cloud library. So a lot of time I will have a Creative Cloud library for everything that I do. Doesn't matter if it's Photoshop, InDesign, or Illustrator, just drag and drop it. So I'm gonna go in and click identity and open that. So look what I have here. What I did here, I did file new, and you can see I have here kind of, if I don't want to see the rulers over here, I can go right away to the properties panel. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, you start looking at it and say, I know what I'm doing. The good news about Photoshop, Illustrator, and especially in InDesign, if they all look the same in terms of workspace, more or less, InDesign doesn't have filters. InDesign doesn't have a lot of drawing tools. So it's more about working with typography and working with layout. Do you have the files?
I'm trying to airdrop them too.
Yeah, but they're not appearing.
Goes in the phone.
Okay. Let me know if you have that. Yes. So you can see here, this is the properties. You're familiar with the properties panel. If I don't select anything, I go to my properties panel, and I basically, if I want to go in and say I don't want to have the rulers, I can turn off the ruler, I can turn on the grid, I can turn on the baseline grid, I can turn on different things exactly like you do in other stuff. And this one, the main thing to look at in design is really look at your page panel. So if you know Photoshop or Illustrator, especially Photoshop, right? If you use Photoshop, what's the panel you're using all the time? The layers panel. You cannot do a thing without a layers panel. If you're using Illustrator, like 3 panels that you have to use, because the layers in Illustrator is really only for organization. So, but here in InDesign, the panel that you have to look at is the page panel. So I took the page panel and brought it out.
Okay.
So look what I have. This is my page panel. And by the way, if I go to a workspace, you can create your own workspace the way you create it in Photoshop and in Illustrator. And look at the workspaces that you have in InDesign. You have a lot more workspaces because they have advanced, they have something to create a book, something for digital publishing, something for interactive PDF, something also for just printing and proofing. So could be somebody who just is the printing manager in a company, not even the designer. You're just gonna go and proof your files that you have. And that's because like in Photoshop and Illustrator classes, I can say, do this and do that. I don't really care sometimes. Do the color. Here it's like, watch me do that because it has to be kind of precise when you're learning InDesign. So what do I have here? I have the page, and I open one page is an INDT only.
Sorry, could you just airdrop them to me?
Yes.
I don't know why they're not appearing.
Okay. Let me just see if I find my airdrop again. Okay. Let me just go
Oh,
back.
I've got yours now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
good.
Balance.
Yeah, you have that? Yeah, perfect. So what do I have here? I do have the page panel. And you see here when I opened it, I basically had some stuff already in there. But let me open another one. This is just an INDT, meaning like a template. And I can go from here and do other stuff. But I gave you another file. I gave you file and open. And I'm going to open another one. It says cover INDT.
Okay.
And I'm going to open this one. And look what I have over here. Over here, you already have something. And look at this. It looks kind of like all over the place with that different kind of margins and things like this. Because in InDesign, when you go below your tools panel, you have previews, which is super important. The first one is a normal preview. And this is how you want to work most of the time. Because what is the normal preview? Showing you the gutters, showing you the frame, shows you the bleed, shows you everything. If I jump over next door or click on the letter W, this is what I see. This is a preview mode. The preview mode, what you see is, you see your, maybe your title, you see whatever you're going to do for the presentation, you see who's presenting it. You don't see the bleeds. You do not see, even if I don't have the typeface. What if you open it and you didn't have the typeface, you don't even see the mistake of the typeface. You just think that it is all good. Then if I go all the way down here, I look at the bleed, and then I didn't have a bleed on this file. Why? Because it's on-screen presentation doesn't need a bleed. But then I have a slug, and I open something I called it slug. What is a slug? This is a place that you go in and write down everything that you want, like to the printer or printing instructions or all kind of stuff that you have in there. And then below that, you have something called presentation, which you can start presenting it on, and then click, and if you have more pages, you're just presenting it, and this is that. For my presentation now, I'm gonna click OK, and then if I go back here, I'm gonna escape that, and I go back to the stuff, and then I'm going to the normal one. And see, this is the slug. You don't see it really here when you don't look at this screen. So what do I have here? And let's check it out. I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna double click on the stuff that says master. Why does it say master and not parent? Really, if you do file new, it will never gonna say master page anymore, because Adobe felt like it's politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Not that no, I'm not gonna start saying what I think. Okay. But they call it parent pages. And I mean, it's just I can get used to it, because for 25 years it was a master page, and now it's a parent page.
Is this just because you created it before?
This page I created it before, so bringing it, but if I'm just gonna do file new and create something like this now, that we can do. We can just do a file new right now, and you can see how we can go in and create that if you want. But now, what I have here on this file, what I want to show, it's a little advanced, but I want to show you here, in the swatches panel, look what I have here. In the swatches panel, I have colorful theme that I probably did it because of something, and I have some blue option. So I already did some colors and everything like this over here. So what if I wanted to go in and do something? Let's say I have it already, but now I want to start a new file completely. And I want to take some of these colors and all the stuff that I had from before and bring it to the new file. And I can bring it, of course, I can put it in my library. But another thing that you can do is, let's say I'm going to go to the main page over here. And then I'm going to select all. And I'm going to go to File and Export over here. Sorry, I'm going to go to File and Save As. And all the way down, oh, it's not here. Okay, I'm going to go back here to File, and I'm going to go and Export. And in the Export area, you have an option over here to export it as something called a snippet. So when you go in and have InDesign snippet, it basically takes everything that you selected and makes it into a file. Then you place it somewhere else, all the colors are going to be there. And I think I did give you some snippets over here in the files that I gave you, because I played with it. So you see I have something called type IDMS, which is a snippet. How do you do it? You go to any file that you like, and you select it and save it as a snippet. So if I save that as a snippet, and then I'm going to go, let's say, to the desktop, and then I'm going to call that colors and more, whatever it is, and I'm just going to go and save. Now I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to say File and New. So when you create a new file in InDesign, it's not like Photoshop and Illustrator. Look what it's asking you: document, book, or library. Document is a document. Book is if you create a book, but it doesn't have to be just a book. It can be also a magazine. Let's say you're doing one chapter, Marshall's doing the other chapter, I'm going to do the third one. I'm the art director, I'm going to send you a style guide, and you have to follow me, and each of you are going to do a chapter. Then I'm going to open a book panel, and I'm going to paginate it. I don't like to work with book as much, because you don't see the entire magazine in one hit unless you do it into a PDF file. So you can see each chapter. So sometimes it's confusing, but sometimes I use it also. People make the mistake, they create a book, put it in the book, and I had a client who did it. It's a good thing I saved the copies online. He took it from his hard drive. It's not inside the book panel, it's looking into it. So it's kind of like taking it, but you cannot get rid of the InDesign files. So then you have library. So what is a library? Library is a local library. So if I click on the word library, it's going to ask me, do you want to do Creative Cloud or you want to do a local library? I'm going to say, I don't want to do Creative Cloud right now. And look what it's asking me. It's basically asking me to create a Creative Cloud library. So let's say I'm going to call it interactive. And I did give you a library with files already. I'm just showing you how to make it, and you click save. So what are you going to do in your library? What are you going to put in a local library? In a local library, you can put anything that you want in terms of, I can go and drag and drop everything that I have here directly to the local library. What if I wanted this dancer to be in the library now? And I can put her in the cloud library. But the cloud is the cloud, and I can take it to Photoshop and Illustrator. But what if I'm flying now? I want to kind of work with InDesign. Only InDesign has a local library. And because they call it library, only InDesign calls the creative library, CC library. The others call it libraries. And that's kind of the difference. So if you end up doing the test in InDesign, they're going to ask you the difference between a regular library and a local library. And you can use in the test a local library, but you cannot use the other library. The local has to sit on your hard drive. But if I wanted, let's say, to take the dancer and bring him here, look at this. Says it's the ballerina. I can even do a description here and say, place in the top of and do stuff like this. But if I take the ballerina away from my hard drive, you're going to see a placeholder and say, ballerina, but she's not here. She has to be here somewhere. So it is like linking. It's not from up there. But I'm going to go and put it here. So everything actually, I can go in that and then I can put this one. So this is untitled and I can call it title. If I had a paragraph style for it, it will take the style with it too. So it takes everything. I use a lot of local libraries in InDesign because I just drag and drop, drag and drop. I don't have to go in and stop waiting for the cloud, and sometimes the cloud is not looking nicely at you. Right? Yesterday was very dark cloud. I'm just kidding. Okay, so now, and you see I have another one. Because I opened this one, it just will open another one. And the other one, it says threefold brochure. And actually, it's some of the files that we're going to use. And another one has a CD. So different kind of stuff that I have here. So this is kind of like my local library. And I'm going to close the other one that I have. The other thing that we have is file and new. And it just do a new document. So in a new document, we can go back here and just go into, and if you want to do, let's say, a presentation, a lot of times we do a web presentation, and then I go into other preset and then decide on the preset. So I have here 1224 by 768. Let's say I want to go in and do something like that. So if I'm going to click on this preset over here, and you can see it's 12 and by pixels and 768. Here you decide how many columns you want to have. Because InDesign listens to your columns when you place. So depending if you want to work with grids and everything like this. Let's say I'm just going to do 4 columns. And then in between the 4 columns, I'm going to do 20 pixels in between them. And then I'm going to click on the preview so you can start seeing what you're doing. The other thing I can do, I can look at the margin. So I can go into the top and maybe I'm going to do 100 pixel. And then maybe the bottom, I'm going to be 120. And then the left and the right, I'm just going to do, let's say, 55 and 55. Oh, actually, I have to unlink it over here. Because if you link, it will do the same for everything. So I'm going to do the top 100. The bottom 100, and the left and the right, I'm going to do 55 and 55. What I don't do when I do on-screen presentation, I don't do bleed. I don't need to. Slug, only if you want to write yourself some stuff. So it's up to you if you want to do. Some people don't do the slug anymore. It comes from an old-fashioned printing. They used to call it slugger. And when you marched to the printer, with your files years ago, and put it in a plastic container, you had to do a label, say who you are. That was the slugger. And it came from that. So everybody knows who to blame. And they left it here. So only InDesign has it, like a slug. Sometimes I put in there, believe it or not, the time I'm start working, if I'm freelancing, and I say 12 o'clock, and then I put another hour next to it, so I know how many hours I worked on it, and with a break, so I know how to charge a client, all kind of stuff like that you can put in there, and also printer stuff. So once I have it here, I can also save the preset that I just did. And if I click on the thing here, it's going to be a preset, and I'm going to call it presentation. And once I do a save a preset, the next time when you go to save, you can save a presentation. So look how many presets I have here. I have postcard, I have threefold, I have certification flyer, I have all kind of stuff, and you can delete them too if you want. So, and then I want to go back here, and I'm going to call it, let's say, interactive presentation. And I gave it a very, like a generic name, and I do create. So once I created it right now I can start working. So look what I have over here. I have, basically, I do have one parent. You see it says parent now? Because that's the new software. Because I opened the old one. So and let's look at my colors first. So on my right side, I have my swatches. So I can bring my swatches over here, and this is the generic swatches for InDesign. And then you can see over here, because it's an on-screen presentation, look at the colors. The colors are RGB. If I did print, it will be CMYK. Because in general, Adobe InDesign is a CMYK kind of a format, but if you do online presentation, right away, I didn't change it. It is RGB. So these are the colors that I have here. What if I don't want to use any of these colors? I can go to the flyout menu, and I can say select all unused. So if you remember in Photoshop, and also Photoshop, not true, but in Illustrator, that's what we do a lot. Why? Because in Illustrator and in InDesign, you do not want to send a printer or anybody colors that you don't use. So I'm going to click here and look at that. I'm deleting, and I have registration, paper, and black. I'm going to save it. File, save as. And I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to save it. InDesign document, InDesign template, and InDesign CS4 or later. So it's IDMA. What if I'm just creating a template? So I can create almost everything now as a template, and then reopen it and save it as an InDesign file. So when you do it as a template, you can do a generic template for any InDesign presentation or interactive, and then always reopen it and give it the local name. So let's save it for now as a template. And I'm going to click save. So it's going to be INDL the whole time. No, INDT, sorry. I mean, there's so many of them. It's going to be INDT. But now remember I saved the snippet before? So if I go to File and Place, and the shortcut is Command or Control D. If you're using Photoshop, what is Command D? Deselect. If you're using InDesign, Illustrator, is transform again. If you're using InDesign, is place. They are fighting about the shortcut for years. Nobody wants to give it up because these are major shortcuts. Every time I use InDesign, and then I jump over to like Illustrator, and I want to play something, the first thing I do is Command D. And then I'm like, oops, it's not placing. So I'm going to do Command D.
What do you think will win?
They're not going to change it ever. Somebody's going to kill them if they change it, probably. Or who's going to win? Usually the Photoshop team is winning.
Really?
Because they are the biggest one. And Illustrator and InDesign, they're kind of like almost one team. they're working together because they're really similar to each other. It's a file-based application. It's vector-based. You don't, so they kind of work the same. So if you know Illustrator, you know half of InDesign, or vice versa. So I'm gonna go in and I'm look at the snippet that I have, and it said colors and more. And I'm just gonna go back here and just put it in here. So look what happened. I don't even want that, but if I click over here, look what happened all of a sudden in my swatch panel. Do you see what happened? All of a sudden the swatch panel has colors. Because the colors came from the snippet that I have over there. So whatever I went here, the snippet went in and brought some in it. I don't have a paragraph style, and I don't have a character style or an object style, so it didn't bring it. But every other thing that I have, it kind of brought it into it. So a lot of time when you place a snippet, you will bring you some stuff with it. You do have another snippet to open, and I'm just gonna go back here and delete that because I don't need it anymore. But now I'm going to do file in place, and I'm going to go to the file I gave you guys, and you do have something that says type IDMS. And then if I go back here and bring it over, now you can see that I have something else in there. Now if you jump over to your paragraph style in your workspace, look what you have there. You have heading, body text, venue list, subheading, and subhead list. Something that I created in another file came directly here. Does that make sense?
So that's how you can transfer, like, for example, if I have documents in InDesign, I can just go back and do kind of like a folder with all of like.
You can do that as a snippet for something. Another thing you can do, if you can also go to the paragraph style over here and say load paragraph style and load the entire InDesign file, and everything is going to bring the style. In the object, it's going to bring it in there. And on top of that, you can put it in either kind of libraries. So I'm showing you that because everybody works a little bit different depending on their workflow. I tend a lot of time to do everything on my Creative Cloud library, most of the time. But now I can go in and actually do, you have even interactivity of thing here. In the character style, look what you have over here. You have hyperlink, bullet colors, hyperlink white, and hyperlink red. So whatever I did in another file, I do have it when I brought the snippets over there. Just check it out. Does that make sense? So now, if I'm going to go and I don't need that over here, I'm going to delete it. It still have it here. And I have my character style and my paragraph style over here. Everything is basically in there. So I'm going to go and create something. So I'm double clicking first on the parent page. So we're going to create a few things on the parent page and then going to work a little interactivity between that. So what I'm going to do is zoom out. What if you wanted to create just a welcome page or something like I did before? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my swatches panel. And what do I have? I have some dark blue because it came from something. I also have colorful theme, and it says 16. This is the color that I have over here. It's kind of like CMYK colors that just came to the swatches right now. I can go in now and make different colors for it. I can go to the flyout menu and say new tint swatch. And I can start tinting the swatch and making it maybe 70. And click add. And look at this, it comes in. I can tint that also, and I can make it 40. And then click 40. I'm going to edit and look at this. I have different colorful themes. I can start building my colors.
Just in terms of, no, I guess like, because if I have the main color and then if I do the tint of the tint, does it give me a different color, or is it?
No, it's a tint of a tint of a tint of a tint. Or also, if you just want colors, not as a tint, right? You're just thinking, okay, we're gonna do something about artistic gem or whatever we call it over there in in design, like I had it in the cover, Los Angeles Hidden Gem, Art and Music, like I decided I want to do a presentation about it. I can also go to File and Place, and then you can see here in the files that I gave you, I basically have images to place. You see this folder? And look what I have here. These are images that I brought in. And then I might go in and take, let's say, the image of the Disney musical. And I'm just going to place it. So I have that. What if I wanted the color of the Disney musical over here? The easiest way to do it is to go to InDesign and go to the Tools panel. And then you see here Color Theme Tool. If you click on if you go in and click on Shift I, it's on top of the eyedropper, it's a color theme tool. And if you go with this tool and just click on the screen somewhere, look what you're getting. You're getting a theme. And it's going to be up to 5 colors only. Not more than that. But all the way inside over here, you can say, I want to have it colorful, dark, and muted, whatever you decide. And then if I click and bring it over, I can bring it right away to my swatch panel. I can also bring it to my Creative Cloud library. I cannot bring that to a local library. Local library, you have to do a shape and then take the shape, and that's going to be the color. Does that make sense? So you can see all of a sudden I have, and I can change the name of the color. So I can start like doing different colors, and then I can go back here and decide and bring another image. I can start building different kind of colors. Let's say I have something with graffiti, and then I want to go back here and click on that, and look at this. I'm just all of a sudden, I have different kind of colors, and look at the colorful. It's reds and yellow and all kind of stuff. So if I feel like just bringing it, I can always bring it. No harm done now, but before I finish my job, I'm going to do select all unused and take away the unused colors. Does that make sense? Always in the end. So, and I'm saving. I'm going to save that. So now what am I going to go and do right now? So I'm just going to go back here, and I can also open and paste the stuff that I have. So I can go in here, and let's say it's going to be a presentation, and it's going to be Los Angeles Hidden Gem, Art and Music, and you're the presenter, so you can put anything, your name there, or whatever you are, like you're going to present something. So I just chose kind of like art in Los Angeles, whatever it is. So I can go actually to this file that you open. I can do select all and copy and go to the new file that I have and decide, do I want to go in and have that as just a beginning of something, or I want to go in and have it just in the page? Hi. So I'm going to double click on the page itself, and I'm going to do edit and paste in place. So you can see I did it a different size than the other one. So it doesn't really match because I probably did it a little bit different. So I can go in and change it, or I can start creating my own things. If I don't want to do that, I can go in and decide where do I want to go and do the welcome page. I can double click on the parent page, because that's going to be part of the welcome page, but maybe you're going to have everything. What do you put in your parent page? You put in parent page stuff that later on you have to go in and place stuff and think that that's changing the whole time. So in the parent page, what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to go into my, let's say, rectangle tool, and click and drag a rectangle with the size of the entire area. And this is the color I'm getting right now, because that's the color that I had last one. I can go back here and click and make that as a dark color. So if I'm going to go and click on the dark color, this is the one that I had from before. If I don't want to have it the whole way over here, I can go and decide that I can go and just give it a different color. But that's going to be maybe the welcome screen that I have over here. And then all what I need to do is just type something. So when you work with InDesign, now InDesign is actually waiting for you to type something within the container. That's what InDesign, the way it works. So if my frame is still on, look what happened. If I go to the type tool, it wants to type inside my container, which is not what I want to do right now. So how do you avoid it? Usually I'll go to my layers panel, and then I'm going to double click and give it a name, and I'm going to call it, let's say, opening page. And then I'm going to click over here, and then I'm going to go in and lock the rectangle. So I'm locking it from the layers panel. I'm locking it from the object menu bar. And the next thing I want to do, I might go in and click and drag a text frame. So one thing to understand with InDesign that's different than the other, you need a text frame and you need an image frame. It doesn't, you cannot just click and type. Image frame and text frame, not like Photoshop and Illustrator. Even if you place an image, it comes with a container. That's how they call it. So this is what I have over here. I'm going to go to my properties panel. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on the properties panel. If I don't see my properties panel right now, I'm going to open it again because I think I locked it. And then I'm going to go to my properties panel here and I can see the colors. So I have the appearance. So I'm going to click here and say I want to have it white. And let's decide what colors we want to do. I use kind of like a nice typeface. But you see I have Minion Pro. We're not going to worry about the typefaces right now, right? Because it is what it is. Minion Pro, it is the default for InDesign. The default typeface. So if you didn't choose anything, it's a default typeface. So I'm going to leave it Minion Pro. And then I'm going to look over here and see I have Minion Pro bold right now. So I can see here Minion Pro, and Minion Pro has different family members. You have captions, regular, italic, medium, semi-bold. I'm just going to do maybe semi-bold, and then I'm going to go in and try to do it, let's say 30, and then I'm going to call it Los Angeles Hidden Gems. Select all. And now, when I selected all the whole thing, I'm going to go to the appearance and I'm filling the color of the type. And that's going to be white. What is the difference? Because look what happened. If I'm going to go to the selection tool and then go to the appearance and then going to go to white, look what happened. So the container can have a color and then the type will have a color. So I don't want the container to have a color, but I'm going to go to the type tool again, select the entire thing, and then now I want to go in and look at the character and the paragraph. I can also look at them all the way up in the control. So depending how you want to work with it, you can go back here and have the paragraph and character set all the way up in your control. If you don't see the control when you first open InDesign, go to Window and go back here to and bring your control panel. Because in a regular workspace, it doesn't bring it now anymore. I like to see it still. Some people say, well, the property gives me everything. So depending on what you see over here. So I can go back here and let's say I want it to be all caps. I can say I want it to be aligned to center. So look how InDesign works. It's layout. It's not like Photoshop. It is layout inside the container that you have, right? Let's say I want to go back here and make that a little bit bigger, maybe 36. Now, maybe I want to have it in the center of the container. The container has no color at the moment. But if I want it to be to the center now, for some people are going to start doing that at the center of the screen. But I really want to have it in the center of this container. I'm gonna right click on the container and I'm gonna say text frame options. And this is what you're gonna start seeing. The inside over here, it is going to be in the top or in the center. You see it's moving right now? And now it's at the center of this container. You can go back here and have it at the bottom of the container. So physically, it always relates to your container. If you want stuff to be on a colorful container and move it freehand, you do text with no contain with transparent container and just do it differently. Does that make sense? But I want to show you some fun stuff to do. Let's say I'm going to do center. Now I do have the container. I'm going to go back here to the fill. I'm filling the container and I'm going to go into my colorful theme and I'm going to have, let's say, the light pink. It is ugly right now, but we're not going to worry about it because I want to show you how to deal with it. And what if you wanted to give the container a certain color, right? First of all, I can go to this container and click on the yellow square. Select it, click one time, and I can make it round. So it's going to be a round container. And then if I hold on the option key and tap on it, it's going to be different kind of things that you have. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but you can do that. Different kind of looks. But the other hand, you say to yourself, what if I wanted the container itself to be a little transparent and show me a color from underneath? Or maybe there was an image underneath it. So if I'm going to go and click on all of it and go all the way to the appearance panel and go to the opacity, look what happens. What happens now? The color goes out, the type goes out, everything is out. So I'm not gonna do it like this. I'm gonna click on that, and then I'm going to go to my control, and I'm gonna click on the effects panel, or you can bring the effects panel. They call it effects panel, but there's not so many effects in InDesign. But I'm gonna click on it and say transparency, and this is what you get in the effects panel. Now they're gonna ask you, what do you want to work for? Do you want to work the transparency for the entire object? Do you want to have it for the stroke only if you add a stroke? Do you want to go and have it for the fill only? So if I'm just going to go to the fill and just going to go back here, look what happened. Only the fill of the container is actually going down. And this is great when you have images underneath and you have text on top of images, you start seeing through. And it looks a lot better than you have. Then I can go back here and then click OK. And let's say I'm going to go back here to it. And then I'm going to go into the transparency and I'm going to do stuff that I don't like to do in InDesign, but I'm going to go to the text. And now I can go into a drop shadow. So you see the drop shadow goes just to the text. You're going to ask me, why don't you like the drop shadow over here in InDesign? Because it goes by pixels and numbers. I don't see the result as an effect. As a designer, I'm very visual. So the numbers, like 7 pixels, I have no idea what it is. It doesn't know. You have to start playing with the offset over here and then see if you like it. You can see here, I'm going to do that. And of course, later you can save it as an object style. So you can go in and create that. And let's say you did that, and that's going to be the beginning of the presentation. And I'm not going to do something like, wow, right? I'm just going to do a few things here. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to file and place. So I'm going to do file and place, Command D. And you see here, I have like the denser. So I can go in and show input option and click open. And look at this denser. This denser has only one layer from Photoshop. That's the way I saved it. But it had variation from Photoshop. Let's say blue denser, green denser, purple denser, and each one has a different layer. I can decide which one I'm putting in there. So InDesign reads Photoshop layers and Photoshop layer comps. It just reads it in there. You don't have to jump to Photoshop and change it. The only time you need to decide to go to Photoshop is if you need really to change the color. So let's say I'm going to go back here and click OK. So this is how it works. If I just click one time on the screen, this is how I get it. This is the original image that I have. If I'm undoing it, Command Z, and then I'm going to go in and clicking and dragging, she goes inside the area that I clicked and drag. Another thing is, now what if I don't like it? If I'm gonna go hold on the shift key and look what I'm doing, look what happened. What did I just did? What did I make smaller? The container. If I double click on her, this, you're gonna see her. This is the container, this is her. So I can move her, it's almost like masking inside, or I can double click again to see the container, right click on it, and try to look at fitting. How do I want to fit it in there? And you have different kind of fittings. The one that's the best for me is fill frame proportionally. Because if I don't know what size, I'm going to do that. But I can do fit content proportionally, content aware fit, fit frame to content. So look at that. It changed the frame to the size of the girl that we have. Does that make sense? So what do I do in real life? I might not even do that. I might do, let's say I want her in a circle inside. So I'm going to go here to my ellipse frame, and I'm going to go in and create an ellipse. Just like this. And I'm going to right click on the ellipse, and I'm going to go in a fitting, frame fitting options, and I'm going to give it an option. And then I'm going to say auto fit, fill frame proportionally, maybe from the center, and click OK. So if that's going to be later a template, anything that you're going to put in there, it does proportionally. Command D, and then I'm going to go back here and put it in there, and then I'm going to click OK, and look at that. She's proportionally in there. If I don't like it like this, I'm going to go back, double click on it, and then I'm going to move her here, and look what I have. I have the dancer over here, and maybe this is how I want her to be. Does that make sense? I still can give colors to everything that I have. So now let's say I have that, and then maybe we're going to do the first thing. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to create some kind of, maybe I'm just going to do that, the first one. So now that's going to be my first page. It's okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go to, and I'm going to start building my template. So I'm going to file and go back here, and then I'm going to go back here to the page panel. And then I'm going to go back here and say insert new parent. I'm going to do a new parent, and the new one, it always comes with A, B, C, D, A. They recommend not to change the A, B, C because everybody works with it, but you can change the name of the parent. So maybe I'm going to call that introduction. And it's going to be one page, and this is the size, and then I'm going to click OK. And this is actually in my template right now. Still. And then I'm going to go back here, and now I want to start putting something that maybe it's going to be in other pages. So I can start doing some kind of design. And we'll just make a design. We'll make up a design, and then we're going to type something, and then we're going to do like a placeholder. So I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and drag a rectangle from one edge to another. And once I have that in the fill area, I'm going to make it dark because we're working with this color, and this is what I have there. Maybe it's going to start like this, just going to go there. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to create something all the way down. So it's going to be something about art and music. Command D, And now I'm going to go to creating a presentation, and I'm going to go to the Illustrator file, and I'm going to see here, I have some colors that I worked with, and I'm going to go back here, Illustrator logos, and I'm going to go back here and have art and music logo. I don't need to show import options. I'm going to click open, and I'm going to click and drag and have it all the way down here. So look what I have here. I'm going to zoom in, and I have some kind art and music, the logo of my company in my thumbnails over here. What else do I want to do? Maybe I want to have page numbers, and maybe I also want to have a URL that always goes to art and music. Of course, I made it up, so I'm going to go back to the type, and I'm going to click and drag a text frame. And I'm going to say www. That, let's find something that's going to work, and I'm going to say, let's see if I have one that it's really working. And then I don't think I have it. Let's say I'm going to say dtla.com. Maybe it is something about downtown LA. I'm going to highlight it. And then I'm going to go and create a URL from it. So what I mean is I'm going to go to Window. And when you start working with interactivity, sometimes you're going to go to the interactive workspace, but I'm going to go interactive, and I'm going to go back hyperlink. And in the hyperlink here, maybe I'm just going to say www.adobe.com. Why am I doing that? Because it's going to be a correct one. And I'll tell you why. And I'm highlighting it. And I'm going to go to the flyout menu, and I say new hyperlink. And then I can copy it, or I can say www.adobe.com. Over here, they have a style already for you. Blue with underline, because that's the traditional one, right? So that's okay for me right now. That's the appearance. You can work with accessibility and write something over there. It is a story about something else that you have. And then you have an appearance, and I'm going to say invisible rectangle, and I don't want to highlight it, and I'm going to say okay. So look at what I have over here. If I zoom into it, this is what I have. And then right now it gave me these colors because I think when I go into my character style, I basically changed my original hyperlink to red. It is a character style. So I can see here I have hyperlink white. If I go back here, see white, and I have another hyperlink that has a different red that I did for it. And then I have another one that's generic hyperlink, and right now it is red that I have. I want to go into the hyperlink red, and I'm going to right click on it to edit that. And now I'm looking at the format, it's Arial, italic, and then I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to make that maybe size 12. And then I'm going to go back here and see if it's going to change the color I have there. I can do a different color too. I can do an underline option. And then maybe I'm going to make that 14, a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to click OK. So this is what I have over here. And then what I didn't do, I didn't align it to the center. So I'm going to go align it to the center. And it's going to go back here. And if I zoom out, I'm going to go in and have it to the center maybe of the page right now. Or I decide I'm going to go and put it over here somewhere. Now, maybe I'm going to go highlight here, and I'm going to align it to the right. And I'm waiting to do something else. But now I want to check it out. So look at your hyperlink panel. You see it's green? If it was red, it means that it didn't catch the wrong hyperlink. This is the stuff when you do the test in InDesign that tell you, do the hyperlink, see the green, please don't click on it, because You click on it in the middle of the test, and you're out of InDesign, and you're on adobe.com. So they tell you all the clicking of interactivity when you're testing. You want to see that it's okay, don't test it. Trust it, that's going to be, and that's why I did adobe.com and not a generic URL. So what else do I want to do here? I want to do a page number. So I'm going to click and drag a frame. And I'm going to go into type, and I'm going to do insert special character, marker, current page number. And it's going to be B. Why is it B? Because what is the extension of the parent? It is master B. I mean, not master, parent B. Wow. Master B, parent B. You know, it's B. If it's C, it's going to be C. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go in, I might leave it median, and I might go and say 14, and I'm going to go in and say bold, and I might make it a nice color. So maybe I'm going to go to my property, and I'm just going to go and make it one of my dark colors over here. And this is what I have. So now when I have it here, but what I want you to see, because look at this, when I select the frame, look what next to it. You see the tiny little guy here? This one? That tells you it's on the master. It's on the master page. Okay, so now I want to do that. And then I want to go back here and click over here one time and maybe insert some space. Type. Insert white space. In InDesign, I can insert space with the space bar. Not good. Because that will read Arial or Minion Pro typeface size. But if you insert an empty character, it's always going to be the same size. Does that make sense? Because everybody does space bar. It's not the size. It's just, it's not going to. So I'm going to say I'm going to do an EN space. So this space is always going to be there for me. I also can go into type and show hidden characters. So look what I see here. That's the hidden character for EN space. So when you work with InDesign interactive or non-interactive, you want to see the stuff that you have. You see hidden character in Illustrator, you do not see hidden characters in Photoshop. And that's why it's so hard to work with paragraph in Photoshop, because you don't know what somebody else typed. Here I know exactly what I did. Now I'm just going to go in, hold on the shift key, and below the delete, I'm going to click and put like a line. This is just a matter of a design. I'm designing. If I don't feel like doing insert hidden character or the white, I'm going to highlight the white character. I'm going to copy it, Command C, go back here, and Command V. You see, I have exactly the same thing. Now I'm going to go to type, and then I'm going to go back here, text variable, and I'm going to say insert variable, and I'm going to say last page number. And why is it good when you do that to a presentation? Because when you show a presentation, they'll see page 1 out of 1 out of 2. When you do a book, you don't need to do that. But for presentation, you really like to show somebody how many pages may be there, right? I'm going to highlight this right now, and I'm going to align it to the right. So look how it is aligning. Now I'm going to check it out. So I'm going to go that, and I'm going to put it here. Oops, I don't want to put it here. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put it below. So look at page 2 right now. This is page 2. And I didn't do the color to it. It looks a little bit different. And I can work with this, see different thing. This is my page 2. Guess what? If I'm going to start doing more pages, look what happens. Page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all share the same stuff here and it doesn't really look good right now. Why? Because I made some mistakes. So if I want to change it to all of them, I'm going to double click on the the parent, and I'm going to go back here and maybe I want to go back here and decide how I want to go and work with this. And then if I want to go in, I'm going to highlight that and align it to the right. And maybe I want this to be some kind of wing over here. I'm going to also go in and highlight the color over here. And you can see the same color, it's size 14. It's all good. But maybe this guy is too big. I'm going to hold down my Command and Shift and make it a little bit smaller, and now it's working. And now if I check it out, look what happens. So depending how you want to start working right now, this is what I have here, and look at this, page 6 out of 7, because I have 7 pages. But if I have more pages, look at this. Do you see what it starts saying? 16 out of 18, 18 out of 18, and then I'm going to go back here and I have 2 part of, and I can create more master now based on the others. But I kind of want you to look at the stuff, and then we're going to look at something, how I'm going to make it interactive. So I'm going to go back here, and I do have also a hyperlink already here, and now I can start putting some stuff here. So it's still a template, but if I just don't want it to be any more template, I can start working with that, and I can start creating some, I can create pages directly over here, like frames, or I can create the frames directly here, depending how it works. So usually what I do is, I'm going to go in and delete that, because you want to have everything matching. What does it mean? There's nothing worse than in a presentation that you start doing colors somewhere else and they start moving when you click, like one to the left, one to the right, all kind of stuff like that. So I'm just going to double click here, and maybe in this one, it is going to be introduction. So I'm going to go back here, in here, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say art and music in Los Angeles.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there any way, like, if I do the whole template and then, like, I spend my whole time and do the different, like, slides, can I import it into, like, PowerPoint? No.
No, you can copy and paste it. They don't talk.
No, but like I can like set it, it would have to be setting it up as a, like, is there any way to just like import the template into a template, like export it as a PowerPoint or something like that? Or no?
Export this one.
Would it just export as a PDF and that's it?
Okay, let me check. Because I never do that, but I'm going to go in and do that. And then in copy, InDesign, JPEG, which format, text only. This is the way you can do that. Adobe InDesign, tag, interactive, EPS, EPUB, HTML, in copy. That's it. But you can, but why would you want to do it?
Just like, for example, I know how to use Adobe, but what if my boss is asking me for a presentation? So like,
And what is he going to do with the presentation? He's going to present it.
He's gonna present it, or like I can do the template, but she can fill it in.
Oh, that's so easy to fill it in though.
Yeah, but if they don't have the software, like if someone doesn't have the software
Oh,
or
so
anything.
they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, okay.
So that's going to be a problem, because InDesign is so much, it's a WYSIWYG software. As opposed to the other one, it's based on just template. Here I can do whatever I want. I can make a template, but I can move it around. So if you can create a template, they're probably the best bet if you want them to create a template in Express and do a presentation in Express. And then Express is free. And then you can do interactive, kind of like more or less with all the, I can show you in a minute in Express, with all the limitations that you have.
I'm guessing the other way would be kind of like to export it as a either PNG or a PDF and just then kind of like put it as a background in the.
Yeah, but then how are they going to fix it? In Acrobat, do you know how to fix Acrobat? Okay, because you can do it as a PDF Acrobat, but if you know Acrobat, I can fix it. If it's a JPEG, it's flattened. It's an image. So maybe one could be, you should check, could be a third-party plugin.
Okay.
I don't want to say no, but I think there's plugins for that. Because actually, the way they started to use InDesign is a script-based application. They started it, there's tons of scripts in InDesign. And then maybe somebody can either build your script or there is something already. We can also check it out. There is a site that I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to go back here. It is creativepro.com. These guys are mainly, they do other stuff, but they are the gurus of InDesign. And they used to call it InDesign tips and tricks, and now they call it Creative Pro because they're doing other stuff and things like this. And then look at this, the design, photo, illustration, presentation in design. And then you have resources, and then you have, of course, you have the magazine over here. And then in the magazine, you do have, like, I'm going to go now and talk about myself for a minute. And in the magazine last month, guess what it was? There was something, saving selection in Photoshop. And if you are in my Photoshop class and we did stuff on saving selection, there's a whole article about how to save selection. So they have a lot of stuff there. But one of the stuff that they have free scripts. And then you can go back here and learn, and then you can go in and look at the stuff, and then that's what you used to call it, InDesign Secret. And then they changed the non-Creative Pro, and then look what they have over here. They have different kind of stuff, and then you can go and ask a question over here, and then see if they have like freebies and all kind of stuff like that. They give you a lot of, they might have a plugin.
It says, well, I looked it up in Google and they said like that if you turn it into a PDF, then from the PDF, you can turn it into a PowerPoint.
Okay.
I don't know if it would work.
You can try. Also, there is another company called In5, and they have tons of stuff. So check out In5 and see if it works for you to do it. And then you can pay for the subscription. It's not free, but you can work with that. Okay. So there's a lot of ways to work. I highly recommend to go into Creative Pro and start looking. First, look at the freebies. And then if you really like it, then you can go. So you see free Halloween fonts, how to set up a document. Some of the stuff are really, really free. And it's stuff, I mean, like little webinars that you have here. And look at this. So they might have stuff for review and print and interactivity. So if you go back into interactivity, how to create a pop-up for interactive document, how to create pop-up for Adobe InDesign. InDesign, all kind of stuff about interactivity, and then some of them are free completely. So I'm going to go back to InDesign over here. And let's say I'm going to do art and music in Los Angeles, and I'm going to go in and make that maybe a lot bigger. And then maybe I'm just going to go in and make it all there. And I want to just go in and click and put like text. So I'm going to do file and place. And then in the area that I gave you, I do have something that says text and it says layout and music, a document over here. And if I click OK here, I can go back here and bring it over here. And then this is kind of like the text that I have here. And I have also a link to it. And this is basically in your template over here. So let's say, in your parent page. So let's say this is going to be something that's always going to come in the same way, or maybe you want to just do it as a paragraph style or something like this. I can go in and then do a rectangle over here, and I'm just going to go in and do a image frame. And then right click on it and say filling, frame filling options. And I'm just gonna do frame proportionally, and I have it here. Just to make sure you see it, I'm gonna go back here and give it a very light color for position only. I can also go in and do it for position only. And then I can go click here and make it maybe round. I can also go back here now and make it like with styles and everything that I have. So it's all gonna be the same layer. So I'm gonna do style. I can go into the effect over here, and then I can say that I wanna have a drop shadow, which I don't like it, it's so big. So I'm gonna go back here, and I have it like this, and click OK. So once I have that, I'm gonna go into my object style. And then I'm gonna go back here, new object style, and I'm gonna call it image with a drop. And then that's it. So I'm gonna start doing, and look at this, it's gonna continue. Over here, depending what I wanna do, I might just do stuff for position only. So what does it mean? Maybe I didn't wanna do for more information anymore over here, or maybe I wanted to do it a little bit different. I'm gonna go in and highlight that and just give that the paragraph style that you have here. So what do you have over here? This is going to be maybe a body text. And that's what I had over here. So I can put something like this and call it body text. And then for more information, I can go and put body text. And this one can be some kind of a URL. It can be a generic URL. And then anything that you want, I can go back here and go back here to my hyperlink, and I'm gonna say new hyperlink. And then I'm gonna bring it here and click OK, and I have a URL over here. So now I can go back here and change it anywhere that I want. So I'm just gonna call that body text. And then I'm gonna take it away, and I'm not going to go back here and have it a space. I'm gonna make the space, and the space after is gonna be a certain space. Maybe it's gonna be 18 pixels. So you can see over here in the paragraph style, it gives me an X because I changed something. So I'm gonna go back here and say redefine style. Maybe I want the body text to be a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna go in and say redefine style. And then I'm just gonna go back here and decide that after that, I'm just gonna go and have some kind of text. So for more information, not so big, I'm going to go back here and make that maybe 14. And then I'm gonna say new paragraph, and I'm gonna say info. And that's it. So now I have the stuff here, and now I'm gonna start going to go back here and clicking below. And then I'm gonna go back here and start looking at the stuff that I have. So I'm gonna start playing it, and this is still my template. Let's say I'm gonna save it now, and it's still my template. And let's say I do different kind of styles. So I'm gonna do another parent page with different kind of things based on that in a minute. And I do another one with just the main page that you have over there. So different kind of things that you do, you can start kind of like creating. So what if I'm going to go back here and I'm gonna say new parent, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm gonna call it grid images. So I just did it like this, and now in the new one, I don't have anything that I have. So I could have copied the other one and make from that something. So maybe it's easier. I'm gonna go and right click on that and say duplicate spread B. And now I'm gonna right click on it, and then I'm going to go parent options, and I'm gonna call that grid. So I named it grid, but I want it to be art and music in Los Angeles. But in this one, I want to make it into the center. And I kind of don't want to have any of these guys over here. And I don't want to have this. And look what I'm doing now. I'm creating a grid, and I want to show you how to create a grid. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag. Look what I'm doing. I'm clicking and dragging one rectangle. You see, it's still clicking it. While I'm still making the rectangle, I'm going to go to the upper arrow key and the right arrow key. And then I'm going to release. So this one is a grid to put in the images if I want to have it in there. I can also do the same grid by going in with the images. I'll show you another way of doing it. But I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say fitting, frame, fitting options. And then I'm going to go in auto fit, fill frame proportionally. And then I'm going to go back here and decide that this one is going to be page 8. So look at this. This is page 8, and this is what you have. If I wanted to give it a color, I'm going to go back here and give it a color. I always like to give it a color, because then if you go to the preview, you see the colors that you have. I always give it kind of a light color for position only. So look what I have. I'm going to check it out right now. A lot of them are going to look the same. I don't know why I did so many images over there. I'm going to delete that. So look what I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images. If I'm going to go into the presentation, see that's going to be the welcome, whatever it is, and all kind of stuff and information. Then you can have a link to another video. Then I have art and music in Los Angeles. I'm going to put some stuff in there. Then I have art and music in Los Angeles, and I have the grid. So if I want to check out some stuff, I can go back here, and then I can just click over here and check it out, because I don't like the stuff that I had here. So it looked to me a little lonely all the way here. So I'm going to zoom it out. And I might give it a line over here. And I'm going to do a straight line. And then once I have the straight line, I'm going to go to my property, and I'm going to do the stroke, maybe the dark. And then I'm going to make it maybe 3 point, and I'm going to make it thick, thin, thick. Just a nice looking line all the way there. And this is what I have over here. And I can go in and start working in that. Does that make sense? So I change. If I wanted to go in and have that, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to double click on C. I'm going to do edit and paste in place. And now I can see that. So look at this. I moved the other one, not a good thing. So I'm going to go in and then delete them. I'm going to go to B. So like that. Hold down the shift key, copy it, go back to the parent page, edit and paste in place. So now it's all working for me, right? So I have this, I have that, they all look the same. So now if I want to start working, now I can start putting the stuff in there. So I'm going to do file and place, and I'm going to go into my presentation. And I have images to place. It's probably going to be the same images all the time. And I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to go back here. You see over here? So it's all going to be the same. They're not going to move because they're reading the same little side, the flowing side that I have, but they're reading it. I'm going to go into here and then file place, and I'm going to go to this one. and by the way, this is an amazing place. You guys like art? You should go there. It's in Beverly Hills. It's a private place. It's an estate with thousands of artwork that you've never seen in your life. You make a reservation. It's only during the week. One tour is at 10:30 and one is at 2. And it's out of its mind. I can give you how to get there. But it's just unbelievable. And some of the images are from there. I'm gonna go back here and let's say I'm gonna do this one graffiti from downtown. Okay? So I have it here and this is how it looks. And now I'm just gonna go back here. So I'm gonna do file and place. And I'm going to select 1, 2, and 3, and let's say 4. Or let's say, yeah, and 4. Didn't bring enough images. So I'm gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So, because I told you to just do this position. So whatever you're doing, the presentation absolutely gonna look absolutely the same while you're working. Now you can start going back here, and then you wanna go and change the body text. If you wanna change, let's say the title over here, look at this right now. At the moment, it's not moving. Why? Because it's in your template. So if you leave it like this, you can change it in the template, that's okay. But if you want to change it all of a sudden in one of the pages. So let's say I want to leave this one over here, and then, oh, actually, I'm going to go back here and align it to the center. And then you can see I didn't have to change anywhere. This is the power of parent pages. You don't have it in Illustrator. You don't have it in design, Photoshop. You do not have it in Express. It's not there. You can duplicate and duplicate, but it's not. This one is like, you can start doing so many things here. And that's why one of the reasons that sometimes InDesign is good for presentation. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I'm gonna show you other stuff. So if I wanna change the body text over here, I'm gonna go back here, and then you go into the page over here, and then you can go back here and allow document selected spread to shuffle, or you can go into a shortcut, Command Shift and click on the body text. And now the body text is actually open for you. And then I can go back here, and then I'm going to go to type, and I'm gonna say fill with placeholder. And then, of course, this was the other one that I had here. I should have done it with different, but this is, let's say, a placeholder that I have, and then I'm gonna say art in LA. And then for more information, you have a style, you can put it in there. And if you don't wanna have this one over here, I'm gonna go to my paragraph style, and then I'm gonna say body text. And then this one is basically it's reading the other body text that you have, and then, oh, because it's reading the URL. So I'm gonna go back here and not gonna work it with the URL, and I'm gonna go to the character style, and I'm gonna say none, and basically this is your body text. So this is the body text that you have. You can start working, you can start putting to stop. You can also go and file in place. So if it is just, I mean, that's for position only, so it's gonna be there forever and ever. So the best way is to do, just create a text frame, and then it is going to go in and just to do file in place and place everything into it, with basically not even going. So if I do file in place, and then I'm going to go into the text that I have. And then I'm going to go into text. And then I'm just gonna go back here and text. So this is what I have. So I can continue on putting this. And then if I want the same one, I can copy and paste. So whatever you do, it's gonna be kind of like the same thing that's gonna work together. I'm just gonna go into an empty page right now. So I'm gonna go in just to show you. I'm gonna click on an empty page, and I don't want to have any master on it. So I'm just going to put it here because I want to show you how you can create a grid in an image. And then we're going to go and make some, maybe a button or something that's going to go somewhere. And I'm going to show you how it works with the PDF and then how it does, what doesn't work, and it works with publish online. So if I'm going to do Command D to place, and I'm going to go to text, and then I'm going to go to images to place, and I'm going to select 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. I'm going to click and drag a frame, and I'm going to go and create, because it's 6, and then release. So in a minute, look what it happens. I can do the grid with the images. I can go in and select the images, and then I'm going to go and make it bigger a little bit. And then I can right click on them and fitting, and then fit frame proportionally. And you see here, I have the grid, and I did the grid with the images themselves. So that's another thing that you can do. But now if I want to go in and create something. So let's say I'm going to go back here to this image, and I want that to go to www.broad.com or whatever it is, right? So I can create for me the button if I want. So when I have it here, I'm going to go back here, and you have the URL here, and I'm going to go to Window and Interactive, and then I'm going to go and say Button and Forms. And then I'm going to go and select that, and then I'm going to go and create the button. And then also you can create it all the way down there, and then it tells you the rollover, and then the PDF option, you do a description for it, but then you could do an action for it. So if I click on it, go to a destination, go to another page, go to the last page, go to a URL. So maybe you have a very big presentation, and somebody reads it and they want to jump in the middle of the presentation, or you want to go into a URL somewhere, and then in the URL, I'm going to go www. I think it's broad.com, I'm not sure. Or the broadmuseum.com. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to go back here and see if I have it here. So now, while I have it here, I can go here and go back here and preview it. So you see I have the preview here, and then it goes to broad, I hope. No, it went to something else. Whatever I put it in there, probably it's not the right URL, but you see I have the preview already in there. So I can bring all kind of beautiful buttons from Photoshop. I can create a button here. I can do a rollover. I can tell it where to go and how to do with the stuff here. But what's not working and what's working with InDesign? So let's say now I'm going to go back here, and then I am going to my pages over here, and in my pages, I want to go back here, and then I'm going to select over here, and then I'm going to go to Window and Interactive, and then I'm going to do page transitions. That's super ugly. I'm already telling you that it is, I never use it. Hopefully one day they're going to change it, but these are the page transitions that you have. They used to have like a fold, like the beautiful fold, remember, like this. It's not there anymore because that was flash-based. Gone. All gone. And then left with this one. Am I using it? Never. But hey, it is in there. So you see you have a box, and it shows you how it goes. In direction, you have displayed, you have fast, you have slow. Let's say, and sometimes it doesn't even work later. And then maybe I want to go and dissolve. And then I'm just going to go back here, apply to the entire spread. So you can see I have it here. So now I'm going to do File and Save As. It's still the template, but it's okay. I'm going to save it as an InDesign document. And I'm going to call it Art and Music. So I'm not overriding the template and then saving. One. The other thing is I'm gonna do file and export. And I'm going to go and export it as an interactive PDF. If it's just a URL, it'll be a regular PDF. But if the others are there, has to be interactive. And I'm gonna go save. And then I'm gonna say open in full screen, view, page transition from the document. I already did this. And it tells you form and media all included. Didn't do a form, it's okay. And then some stuff are going to go in and be appearance only, unfortunately. And I'm going to go back here and bring it here. And it tells you that's gonna be a main page over here. And this is what I have over here. So now I'm going to go back here. And then I'm gonna click on that, and then it tells you security warning. And then it's gonna go in and allow. And then it is going to go in. So this is the button that went to the URL that I have over here. And then I have this one, and then this one I can go back here and whatever I did, it's just gonna go back here, the Discover Free Museum in Los Angeles, which is really cool. And then I can go into the other one and have this. And then if I go back to here, I will just go back here to Adobe.com that I have. But it has, because of the buttons, it has to be interactive. If it is with just your, the other thing I can do over here, I can go back to InDesign. And this is my favorite thing. I mean, we didn't do the transition, right? That's the problem, that lately you do not see the transition, which I don't know why. I think they broke the transition because I was trying, and that's why I did it as a full screen. And then I'm going to go back here, full screen mode. And we didn't see the transition, right? Or was my imagination? We did not see transition. It's not the first time. I have to check it out because I think they broke the transition, but no harm done. I never use them because they're like worse than PowerPoint. They're like going in and out and not looking so good. But it's not there, and it's, I don't know why you don't see it, but it doesn't. But the other thing that I have here, and maybe I see it here. No, it's not gonna see. This is just showing it here and the EPUB. No, it doesn't show you here, so forget about it. So I'm gonna go back here to the InDesign, and then let me just go back here. Now the one I really like, let's say I did it, and I have the button as an interactive. I can also do a form, which is, you don't want to do a tax form. That's not in InDesign, that's maybe in Acrobat, but you do kind of little things that you can go, like, I want to visit the museum, just a tiny little form that you have. I can show you in a minute. I made one very, very simple, and you can see it in a minute. So just simple stuff, not heavy. And they look kind of nice here, not like in Acrobat. You can do all kind of stuff with it. But now the one that I really like, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to say Publish Online. And when you do Publish Online, basically you can publish a new document, or if you have an existing one, you can give it a name, you can do a description for the client, you can say all the pages or certain pages. If there is a spread, you do a spread. Now that's new, you can protect it. So you can go back here and do a passcode to somebody. That's really new, like happened few months ago. It wasn't there. I'm not putting it in. I never remember my passcode, then I cannot open my own files. And then you have advanced, and in the advanced, you can say, maybe I want the first page to be like the one that the client is going to see, or maybe I'm going to select a page that's going to be, or upload an image. So you can actually go in and upload an image, and I think it has to be a JPEG or a PNG. I don't think it can be, I'm just gonna put this one. Why not? Interactive, because I have a JPEG over here, and then the format is automatic, and
high JPEG quality and everything here. And over here, more setting. Allow reviewers to download the document as a PDF print. Only PDF print. Hide the share. So if you don't want it to share, allow viewer to search and copy in the published document. And I'm going to go and publish. So the good news about it, I can send the link right away to the client and they're going to see the bad news, like Marsha said before. All of a sudden, you don't have Creative Cloud. You say, oh, I had this beautiful publish online. If you didn't save a PDF for me, they're gone. They're not going to be there. So it is actually, it's on the Adobe server. It's at the Adobe portfolio. It's on the Adobe server. So they cannot. So some people, like if you teach, if you work, let's say in the army or something, they say they don't want to use it because of security. But who's going to know that the URL is weird anyway? So you can see here, I can go and copy the link. I can also share it if I want, and I can view the document. So over here, I have it here over. So you can see I have the share, and I also have the download. If you don't want these two, you can turn them off, and they're just going to watch it on the screen. And now I can go back here. So I can go back here to the document over here. It should be live. I don't know why it's not live right now. And I can go back here, and then you can see that everything is there. And then I can go into the document over here. And I think the button should be live too, and the button is really live. I don't know why my URL was not live. It should be all the URL, all animation, everything actually to publish online, all the media is available. In the PDFs, not everything is available. So if I created some kind of animation, a very simple one, or I created the form is going to be as a PDF, but if I can create, let's say, a slideshow, it is not available in that. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go back to InDesign, but this is published online. I can also go to my dashboard. This is my dashboard. So look what I have here. I have another kind of presentation over here. And then I made publish online. So I have different things here. So you can see here, it's not really all the way, but it's like a template for something that I have and different URL and all kind of stuff. So it is kind of like publish online over here. I can also go to another one and let's say I have some other stuff. Let me see if I have. Like this is something we did a few months ago. So I did the stuff that I gave the student on publish online. Does that make sense? So you can see the stuff while you're having. I'm just going to open. I know you guys probably need to go already. But I want to open a presentation that I have over here. And I don't know where I put it. Okay, I think I have it here. This one is a form for InDesign. So you see here, this is like I created it in InDesign, but I can go now to the stuff that I have, and that's when you go to button and forms, and then you decide that you're going to go back here and just go in just to create, let's say, a text field. So now I can go into the text field and see the action and then go into the description and say first name. And then I can decide what size of everything that I have. Then I can go to the other one and I can do that. So you can do text field, you can do button, and then you can do it interactive, and that's going to be a form. Does that make sense? I have another sample over here. And then this one actually goes back here, and look what you have over here. So I have, like, let's say a document over here. I can also go back here and place something into it and go in here. But if I'm going to go back here and kind of make it into a PDF, that has a URL here that goes to the other place that you have. So if I'm going to go back here and then export, and then export that as interactive PDF. And then I can go back here. This can go into this page. You see, there was a link there to this page that I have. This page goes to another interactive area. So you can go from the beginning and tell it it's going to go to page 16. From page 16, it's going to go to the URL. That's the stuff that you have. And then you have to have that as an interactive PDF while you have that. Does that make sense? So I think kind of like in general, like you need to know a little bit more about paragraph and character style in InDesign to make it look nice. And that's the main thing in InDesign. So in our testing class, that's what we do 90% of the time. We're just working with paragraph and character style, and doing different kind of project to create paragraph and character style to make it happen. And based on that, everything comes from your paragraph and character style. And you can really style it and then do the interactive document. Does that make sense? Any questions? Yes.
Can you make a shape and then once you click on it, it could reveal a text or something? And how does that flash?
The flash. All the beautiful stuff, yes, but you can create a shape and go, because that's kind of animation and it's not really compatible anymore to the PDF over here. So that's more like animating stuff that it's going to be more advanced. You can try to do it in Animate. Are you using Animate? Yeah, so that's Adobe Animate. Actually, we have a test for that, but nobody wants to take it. Nobody wants to do Adobe Animate, but I don't know why. That can go in and start revealing. After Effects, that's the one.
Okay.
Do you know After Effects? So in After Effects, that's the thing, revealing and bringing transitions and click on one and turning it around. That's what you do that.
You can click on it and you can make After Effects.
You can make After Effects interactivity to it too. So you can do a lot of fun stuff. Any other question? I'll see you in an hour. Perfect. I'll see you on tomorrow. Yeah, so I see everybody. Okay. So thank you for coming, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And then I'm going to stop the recording and